Hi, everyone, and welcome to Developer Platform 101, your guide to learning all there is to know about building with the Zoom Developer Platform. In today's video, we'll be talking about Zoom webhooks. We'll cover what webhooks are, when you might want to use them, and how to get started. Let's dive in. As you might already know, webhooks are a way for applications to communicate with each other in real time by automatically sending data based on specific events. They are a lightweight, event-driven method of communication that uses the HTTP protocol. Webhooks are a great tool to avoid making repeated calls to pull data frequently from the Zoom API, and they allow you to get specific information on specific events that happen in a specific Zoom account. So if you're wondering, when should I use webhooks? That's a great question. Let's talk about it. Think of webhooks as an alarm. Imagine that every night before you go to bed, you set an alarm for 6 in the morning, trusting that it will go off at exactly 6. Because you trust that alarm, you don't need to wake up in the middle of the night multiple times to check the time. This is similar to how an app can wait for an event using webhooks. Instead of making continuous API calls to check if something has happened, you set up a notification, a webhook, to alert you when the event occurs. For example, imagine you're building an application to track meeting attendance when participants join a Zoom meeting. If you were to pull the API, you might need to call it every 30 seconds or every minute, asking, has anyone joined the meeting yet? This approach is very inefficient. Instead, you can use Zoom webhooks. You can wait for the participant joined event, and Zoom will send you a payload with the relevant details whenever someone joins the meeting. This way, your application gets notified in real time without needing to make constant API calls. Now that you know when you could use webhooks, let's talk about how to get started with them. To get started with Zoom webhooks, it is important to mention that all of our app types available in the marketplace have the ability to subscribe to webhook events. So you want to head over to the marketplace and choose the app type that fits your needs. Once you've selected the app type that you want to work with, you will need to head to the Feature tab. Once there, scroll down and turn on the Event Subscriptions feature. Add a new subscription, give it a name, provide an event notification endpoint URL, add the events that you need, and lastly, validate the URL. Do not forget to save your changes in order to start receiving webhooks. If you need more guidance on how to validate your endpoint URL, check out the links in the description of the video. Let's recap. Zoom utilizes webhooks as a medium to notify third-party applications about real-time events that occur in a Zoom account. You should use webhooks when you want to subscribe to specific events without having to call the Zoom API. For example, every time a participant joins a meeting, or every time a meeting gets started. Lastly, to get started with Zoom webhooks, head over to the marketplace, enable event subscriptions in your application, add the events that you want to receive, validate your endpoint URL, and save the changes. That's it for today's episode of Dev Platform 101. See you next time, and happy building.